There we go. Hello, it's Ryan from Nights Around the Table. Let's get a graphic up. This is just the roughest start to any stream in a year or more. It's going to be in the middle of the screen. Get out of here. Here it is again. We'll just watch the logo for a little bit. Welcome, hello, who's here? Sound off if you're here. I'm sorry that you are. Whew, I'm going to try to stop beginning every single one of my streams with, oh my goodness gracious. But in this case, an oh my goodness gracious, I think is warranted. I'm not going to say anything more until whoever's in chat confirms that I am hearable. DJ MacV, hello, hello. Right then, governor. Most obnoxious, phony British accent I can come up with. As usual, welcome. I'm glad you could join me today because this is it, man. This is the event. This is the kickoff to an event that I have been desperately wanting to launch, and all kinds of mishaps have gotten in the way. This is the opening ceremonies of Pfister Pfest, ladies and gentlemen. Pfister Pfest. You see it at the bottom of your screen. You see it all over the table. I'm going to say hello to DJ MacV. Oh, hi, Omar. Glad you're here. Pfister Pfest is an event that I wanted to start way back in February. It was supposed to be another board game designer spotlight. So just like we did Uwe Rosenberg month in November this year and November of the previous year, I wanted to do Pfister Pfest, explore another designer. I wanted it to be based entirely around, there's a lot of games on the table, I'll show you all of them in a second. This game, Great Western Trail 2nd Edition. Great Western Trail 1st Edition was designed by Alexander Pfister. The 2nd Edition came out with, we'll see what's different about it in a second, and I thought, whoa, wouldn't that be great? I'll just wait till it comes to Canada. And I waited, and I waited, and I waited. And due to distribution difficulties and shipping difficulties, believe it or not, you're seeing this, it's September now that we're filming this. It's September, and I don't think it's come to Canada yet. The only reason that I have this copy in my hot little hands is because I went to Gen Con about a month back with my wife, Cheryl, and they were very kind to give us a copy. And then they were additionally kind to send us a copy of the brand new Great Western Trail Argentina, which is like a sibling, a sister to this game. And I think that hopefully that's what you're most excited about seeing. That's what I'm most excited about seeing. So we're going to crack into that as early as we possibly can. Well, hey, Various, glad you could join us. Hey, hey, Foglight 11. Nothing. I want gets here to Canada quickly enough. He ain't that the truth. Is there something that you've been waiting? It's weird. I don't know where you shop. I shop at a store called Board Game Bliss. Used to be Scarborough. Now it's moved to like Thornhill. I don't even know where that is. Is that North York? Anyway, it's in Toronto somewhere. In the many boroughs of Toronto. And they get stuff that other people don't, but they get it on a weird timeline. Like if you ever wanted to play Zaya, that sandbox space game, they get it. They get it, they get the expansions, but like you got to put it on your wish list and you got to snap it up the moment it comes into the store. I don't know, it's weird. Canada's weird. It's a weird place. I'm glad though, I'm glad that we're in Canada and not in Australia, because I've just heard no end of complaints about how difficult it is to get stuff in Australia, because they're on basically the bottom of the thing, right? And stuff's really expensive because they're essentially a gigantic island. Anyway, could be the boxes in the way for the mic. Uh-oh, is the mic not working? You gotta tell me. Have you not been able to hear me this entire time? If not, I'll start again. Hi, Omelette, glad you could join us. Omelette's usually one to go, sound isn't working. It's working. Is it just bouncing off the boxes? Because that's a thing. Could be bouncing off the boxes. Bit quiet? Hey, I can crank it up, no problem. I got that power, watch this. And then you're gonna have to tell me if it's too loud. I don't know. Let's try that for a little bit. And you think that's too loud? Then when you move back, it sounds better. When I move here, it sounds better, and then it's like crummy over here. I wonder if. I hope this isn't the case, but it may be the case. Checky check. Test. That's me hitting my chest. Give me 2 seconds to do a little thing. It's a difficult thing to do because it's on a different monitor across the room. Let me just make sure that I got the right mic input. I've got the right mic input. Okay. I can go up even louder. I'm just worried about it clipping. You let me know. Crispy, crunchy sounds. Hold on. That's not good. Tell me if you still hear crispy, crunchy sounds. I don't want any of that. Talky talk. You know, one of these days I'm going to do this and it's going to be better. Okay, good. It's going to be just like we're going to turn it on. Everything's going to work. It's going to be fantastic. I feel like I stream to you from just like a derelict spaceship every single time. It's just like, I got to flip these knobs and connect these wires and wow, we'll get the old boy home. All right, sounds good now. Perfect. Good. Pfister Pfest, y'all. Pfister Pfest. What about before we crack to do a couple of games? We could do a little Who is Alexander Pfister? I have done almost no preparation on this segment of the stream, but I do have a picture of the man, and he looks like this. So there's a picture of Alexander Pfister. He's a board game designer. He's in his 50s. He's either 50 or 51. Not enough journalistic due diligence to actually check when his birthday was, but he may have already turned 51 this year. And he's an Austrian guy. And I actually, when I was excited about doing Pfister Pfest, I was contacting publishers and saying, oh, can you send me this game? Can you send me that game? Because I wanted to have as many Pfister games as I possibly could to cover for the fest. And I thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we ended this whole thing? That was when the plan was for it to be just a month. It was going to be in February, Pfister Pfest in February, because, you know, alliteration. So I contacted Alexander Pfister. I thought, wow, it'd be cool to get an interview from this guy. So I contacted him and said, hey, we're going to do like a big, designer showcase on you. We're going to talk about like all your games. And do you want to interview at the end? It would be a cool culmination. And he just basically said, like, I'm not comfortable interviewing in English, so no. It's heartbreaking. I felt like, who's that kid who's like, number 2 to Superman? He's like the Superman fan club, and they satirized him in The Incredibles. Anyway, that kid, and he becomes, not to spoil The Incredibles for you if you haven't seen the movie. Anyway, bad things happen to that kid. Felt like that little kid a little bit. But not to be deterred, I thought, well, if he's uncomfortable interviewing in English, then the only way for me to solve that problem is, of course, to learn German. So I'm on day 169 of a streak on Duolingo, trying to learn German so that I can eventually interview Alexander Pfister. And you say, well, Ryan, you're not going to know German well enough by the end of the month to interview Alexander Pfister. And you're correct. And that's why we're doing this today and we're not waiting until February. Now, Pfister Pfest, the idea was for it to be a month. It's not going to be a month anymore. Pfister Pfest is going to be a feeling. It's going to be a vibe. Do you understand? Look, I've got a logo. I made a logo this morning. Is it over here? It's over here. I made a logo. So basically it means that anything that I talk about that's Alexander Pfister related is going to be part of Pfister Pfest. And what it does is it frees me up from worrying about having to cram everything in a month. Because I was thinking like, oh shoot, like I could open Great Western Trail and then I'll have to haul ass and by the end of the month have a how to play up for it, and then while I'm working on that, it'll be hard to do other content for the other games. I just thought, that's nonsense. And I'm being pulled onto a lot of commissioned videos, right? So I'm very, very busy, and there's no telling when somebody might phone me up and say, hey, can you do a video for this other game? Plus there's money attached. So of course I'm going to take that project. All it means is that anything Pfister related is going to be part of Pfister Fest. We'll throw the logo on it. It'll be part of the same playlist. It'll be on a page on nightsaroundthetable.com. You can go, and anytime you want a Pfister fix, you can go and stuff will be there for you. And this is the kickoff. And the other Pfister Fest stuff, prior to Pfister Fest, any Pfister related content is going to be up there as well. The only other 2 pieces I've done involving Pfister Fest, shut up, but show don't tell. The other 2 pieces were I point down there because it's down there. This is going to be tough. An Oh My Goods how to play and a Great Western Trail how to play. So, oh my gosh, I should pay attention to what you're saying in chat. Yo, that's ADHD brain solution. Ain't it though? Ain't it the best thing for an ADHD brain? I can confirm ads are working. Oh, well, I wasn't saying anything important anyway. Thanks, Omelet. I believe if you subscribe, you don't see ads. And the only reason you're seeing ads now is because when I started streaming, I streamed for an entire year. And after a year of streaming like twice a week for 4 or 5 hours at a time, they were like, congratulations, you've earned $100. And I thought, well, that's a little bit of an imbalance for effort versus reward. And I found out it's because the entire year I didn't have any ads turned on. So I've turned them on now. If you don't want to see ads and you want to subscribe to this channel on Twitch, and I know that many of you support me in other ways, so you don't need to do this at all, but a nice free way to do it is if you have a Amazon Prime membership, then you get an Amazon Prime gaming subscription, one free one to any channel on Twitch, and if you choose this one, then you won't see ads on this channel, and if you choose another one, you won't see ads on that one. I think that's how it works. Okay. Here we go. This represents, I believe, the entirety of Alexander Pfister's oeuvre, his output, his, you know, the things that he's going to take to his deathbed, saying, look what I gaze upon me, ye mighty in despair. It's only missing a couple things, and I want to talk about what's missing in a sec, but let's talk about what's here right now. This is Maracaibo back here as an Alexander Pfister game. I do not have the expansion to Maracaibo because they misprinted it, and the player boards in the expansion are like slightly offset. It's like a double layered thing, and the holes show through, and it's just the board underneath is slightly offset. I spoke with Clay from Capstone Games when I was at Gen Con. I said, hey, are you guys reprinting that, maybe correcting that error? And he said yes. So I'm going to wait. All good. Maracaibo. Then that one's already open. We don't want to touch games that are already open. I'm going to keep Great Western Trail first edition around for a second, and then of course Great Western Trail second edition and Great Western Trail Argentina are the ones we're going to look at first. Let's stick them over here. Oh, dominoes. Blackout Hong Kong is unopened. It's in shrink. We're going to open it. I have no idea what it's about. If you want to tell me in the chat, please, by all means, regale me with tales from playing Blackout Hong Kong. This is courtesy of Pegasus Spiele. This is Port Royal, the big box. Now, you might not recognize the cover of Port Royal because the original cover by Port Royal was designed or drawn by Clemens Franz, as you know, my favorite board game artist. Looks like they got a different artist working on it this time, and it's Port Royal with a few expansions. What is it? I don't know. It's a pirate-themed card game. Again, if you know more about the game, please tell me in chat. Audience participation. These little games down here are the Oh My Goods series. I don't know if Tiber the Builder is officially in that series, but I was really surprised when this like Oh My Goods came out, and then they announced like, oh, guess what? There's a new game set in the universe of Oh My Goods, and I thought, what the heck does that even mean? Because I'll show you what the universe of Oh My Goods looks like real quick. It looks like, again, illustrated by Clemens Franz, and it looks like I don't know, we've got a house and a mill, and we're making paper, and we're shoveling peat into furnaces. It looks like, I mean, that looks like our universe, doesn't it? So it was really weird when they're like, set in the, you know, the universe of Oh My Goods. I just thought it's not a strong IP to set multiple games in the universe of. But strangely, we get, and this is something we'll talk about as we talk more about Alexander Pfister. This is Oh My Goods, and then he came out with these two, Escape from Canyon Brook and Longsdale and Revolt, and these both add like campaigny story elements to this thing, which I thought was really weird. And the other thing I wanted to point out, if you ever want to see a game that does multi-use, multifunctional cards really well, the how to play for this was like 20-25 minutes, and you wouldn't think that for a game that's just like a few cards, right? But the instruction booklet was translated from German, not super successfully, I wouldn't say, so I felt like it needed a video. And it's neat because the cards have these symbols on them, which is kind of like a push, not quite push your luck, but cards get turned up, and as soon as a certain number of symbols get turned up, you stop turning up cards, and then there's the cards that get turned up let you do stuff in your own little player tableau. I won't explain the whole thing because that how to play video is on the site, but it's a neat exercise in how to really get a lot of design bang for your buck out of just something simple like a couple decks of cards. Pretty cool, pretty cool. And then, interestingly, I use that word for things that I'm interested in. If you're not interested, then I don't know. We may not have, our tastes might not line up. But this is Expedition to Newdale, which is a board version of the whole Oh My Goods thing. So once again, set in the Oh My Goods universe, the Oh My Goods cinematic universe with character crossovers. I don't even know. But one of the questions about Alexander Pfister and his games that I would like to answer through Pfister Pfest is, buy this or buy those other ones? Do you need to own both? Is it valuable owning both? I don't know. We'll find out together. Yeah, 50,000 cards indeed. We'll get there. We'll get there. This is a loaner from my friend Patrick, who's a supporter of the channel. You'll know him as Patraz on the Discord server. There's the link to the Discord server. Please join us there. Marvelous, wonderful people. And this is about witches. This is a rare Alexander Pfister game put up by Ravensburger. I think this is the only Ravensburger game that we have on the table, or maybe the only one that they've published by him. But apparently, Patrick talks it up like crazy. He says it's awesome, so I can't wait to try that out. Isle of Skye is the one that the folks in the Discord server tell me I will like the least because it involves tile laying. And what's missing here, I believe there are 2, maybe even 3 expansions to Isle of Skye that we don't have in there, but that's cool. We'll check it out. This is an expansion to a game called Carnival of Monsters that was designed by Richard Garfield, who's the designer of Magic: The Gathering, and another game that I'm actually working on for Dice Hunters of Therion, which you'll see on the channel in a little bit. Tiber the Builder is another small box game that just involves a deck of cards. I have no idea what it's about, but it looks very much like the Oh My Good stuff. This is the kind of thing you get in there. Again, it's just like 2 decks of cards, and the cards I assume are going to be multi-use like the... Oh, and it looks like there's a little bit of a story involved. There's writing stuff going on. Stuff and things, you know, being as descriptive as possible. Oh my gosh. And of course, I forgot to turn off a timer, so you'll get regular notifications that you can back Sea of Legends on Kickstarter, which you can't actually do because that Kickstarter is over. And I forgot to turn the timer off, but it's ended. But when the late backer thing pops up in a couple of weeks and you can jump in case you missed the Kickstarter, I highly recommend you do. It's quite good. So here's, I think what a lot of us came for. We want to see what is up with this. So Great Western Trail. Hey there, campers. Hey, Dr. Threeputt. Let me see. Nat Chat is still pumping Sea of Legends. I don't know. Let me just see if I can just... You stare at the box covers. I'm going to see if I can turn that off because that might be a little bit annoying. Sea of Legends, turn off. Okay, I think that was pretty straightforward. I think it's off now. You let me know if... Sound the alarm if it comes back. If it comes back, we'll run that notification out of town. All right. Great Western Trail is a rondel game. If you don't know what it is, we'll explain more as we open it up. I'll probably forget, but remind me in the chat. It's a rondel game and a deck builder combined. So you've got cows and you're running them up the Great Western Trail. Let's look at the back of the box, which was a historic pathway through cowlands in America. And you gotta take your little cowboy and run them all up this Great Western Trail, and all the little buildings that you visit on the way through modify your deck of cow cards, and you get them all the way up to the top of the board where there's a train, and you ship them off to a city. And that sounds pretty simple, but it's actually a very complicated game, and it takes many hours to play. So a few things about Great Western Trail. This is, yeah, gosh, possibly the worst board game cover ever made. It's famous for being horribly, hauntingly bad. And I think what happened is the artist ran out of time, and he's like, "What, you wanted 3 guys on the box? Oh crap, yeah, I'll get that to you tomorrow." And he just basically like copy pasted this guy twice and put like different hats and mustaches on him. I have a feeling that's what happened. Or maybe he's using like the equivalent of like Poser or something like in 3D software, and it's just like, "Oh, look, I can get 3 guys, copy paste," and then I don't know what happened, but it wasn't expertly done. I should mention one interesting thing about Alexander Pfister that I do know is that he is at the center of not 1, not 2, but 3 board game controversies all along the idea of cultural appropriation and colonialism. So he's really hit the jackpot on there. The old racism hat trick. So the issue, so this is one of them that I included in those 3. So the issue with this one is that he has a section on the board, this little TP section here, where you go and you trade with, as the book says, Indians, and depending on where in the world you live, but especially in Canada, Native Canadians don't like the word Indians. Some of them use it to describe themselves. Many of them don't. I think it's more common in America that Native Americans will use the word Indians. So it kind of depends on who you are and sort of, which family group you come from. But those who don't like it a lot. So that was a bit of an issue with that one. Maracaibo was the second one. I'm getting these out of order, but Maracaibo people took exception to because it's, piracy history, and I think there was a human trader card in the deck that they've since weeded out, and then as sort of like a mea culpa, when they did the expansion to Maracaibo, they made it about the Haitian slave uprising, which is a neat piece of history, and that was sort of a hopeful fix. And then the third one, possibly the most egregious one, was this game, Mombasa, which you won't find in this collection. I looked at this a number of times and I couldn't get past the cover. I thought, this makes me uncomfortable, and I'm a white guy, so you've got like a obviously like a red coat soldier British guy kind of thing, writing at his desk with a quill pen and a pith helmet, and are those diamonds? Those are probably like blood diamonds on his desk, and he's looking out his curtain of his tent at like the Native African women doing the hard stuff, carrying the grain or the water or whatever on their heads, and it just was just saturated with subjugation, let's say. I don't know, maybe I didn't want any part of it, and I don't like using the word, but if you're going to use the word problematic to describe something, this is a great place to use it. So what they've done with that one is they've completely let it go out of print, let all the copies sell out. You can't really get Mombasa anymore unless it's on the secondary market, and they rethemed it, they redesigned it. So this is what it looks like now. It's called Skye Mines. So they're like, oh, where can we go that won't offend anybody? They're like, I know, the moon. So let's go to the moon where there's absolutely no people. So that's what Skye Mines is. It's a complete thematic reskin of Mombasa, presumably using the same mechanics. So hopefully, if Pegasus Spiele wants to send a copy of Skye Mines along, we'll take a look at that as well. All right, Argentine beef, yes. So now so they've done a second edition of Great Western Trail, and they have two more in this series that are promised, and this is the first one to come along. Great Western Trail Argentina, which takes place in South America with cowboys, and then the third one is going to be Great Western Trail New Zealand, which I believe swaps out the cows for sheep. Am I right about that? Is it sheep instead of cows? Because I know there's a lot of sheep in New Zealand. If I'm wrong about that and it's still cows, let me know. But I thought what we could do is we can crack into these games and we can kind of take a look at, I know a few of the differences between Great Western Trail and the first edition, and I only briefly saw Great Western Trail Argentina at Gen Con, so I only know a few different things about it, but I know that it adds a worker type, and that's all I know. Let's go. Let's get into it. All right. I didn't know about Mombasa and Skye Mines. Yeah, Airedale, isn't that interesting? So, there have only been a few big controversies of that type in board games, and it's a bit uncomfy that Alexander Pfister his games are involved in like 3 of them, when I can only name about 5 or 6, so to be involved in half of them is just a really bad batting average. So the other 2 I can think of, or the other 2 or 3 I can think of, are box fartometer, maybe like a 0.5. I don't even know if the box fartometer does half numbers, but that was a very subtle box fart. So the other ones were, again, thank you Plan B Games for flipping us a copy of this. The other ones were Puerto Rico, where it's like Puerto Rico was so terrible because it was like, yeah, you're managing this plantation, and in order to get your buildings worked, you put these little brown discs on the buildings, right? And you're generating, wealth on your plantation, and then shipping the goods back to the old world. And it's like, sorry, game, who's doing the work exactly? What are these brown discs? And the game's like, well, they're colonists. And you're like, I don't think colonists were harvesting corn and picking cotton in Puerto Rico. I think that was native Puerto Ricans. I don't think it was you guys. No, it's colonists. And you're like, well, that kind of sucks because those guys didn't do the work. So, I mean, just, they were slaves, say they were slaves, but at least my take on it is at least give them credit for doing the work on those plantations. At the very least, that's all you could do. So that was another one. And then the fifth one I can think of was Daniel Tashini, who was involved in a lot of the T-titled games, said used a racist term, and people got very mad at it. And he said, well, I have friends of color and they're cool with it, and everybody else is like, well, we're not, so tough nuts on that one. But yeah, to be involved in 3 out of the 5 I can think of. And they come to you on boats. Yeah, great point. Yeah, the colonists in Puerto Rico arrived to your plantation on ships, but really, those ships came from England, wink, wink. Sure they did. Great. Second edition rulebook. I wonder who wrote it. I'm paying attention to this a little bit more now. Designers, producers, art direction, editing. I don't know. Chris Williams, though, I'm keeping an eye on that name because Chris does a lot of art direction on games. Yes. Great. Oh wow, there's a solo mode. I don't think that the first edition has a solo mode, does it? Am I wrong about that? That'd be cool to play solo, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? So time was when you couldn't always rely on a board game having a solo mode, but now, like, if it's kind of like if it doesn't have it, you're kind of dead in the water, right? So a change already that I can see is that the engineer, I believe this is the engineer in the original game, he was a white guy and kind of a creepy looking one at that. I think he was this weird looking dude who looked kind of like, doesn't he look like Dr. Zaius from Planet of the Apes? It's kind of, that's that stare that goes right through you. So it looks like they've changed that guy, I believe that's the engineer, into a black gentleman with a top hat. And then the cow hands looks like more of a, is this the, am I getting this right? These cow hands, they have little like bandit scarves over their mouths. And the third one is another cow hand. I might be getting it wrong, but we have another employee completely who's a woman, and all 3 of them, I thought there were only 3 of them in the base game. They were dudes, unless these are the outlaws. So the other change that it made, and I'll get that on the close-up camera over here. The other change that they made, close-up camera, please. Yes. The other change that they made is the Indians that you visit in the teepees, now they've said, oh no, they're not Indians, they're outlaws, they're criminals. And I was like, really? That's how you're gonna that's how you're gonna fix that problem? Is you're gonna change your natives to crooks? Okay, sure. Whatever, it's your funeral. I'm not making the decisions. Great. So another punch card. You got paper coins. These are all the different buildings. This is a hallmark, I believe, and this is what we're going to be trying to do through Pfister Pfest, is finding commonalities between a bunch of these games. Is kind of trying to get into the man's head and see how he ticks, and see if we can anticipate what he's going to do in future games. You know, we're going to stay on top of it. So these buildings have a bazillion different icons on them, and if you want to play Alexander Pfister games, you got to be down with the bazillion icon format, because Maracaibo has this, and Boone Lake has this, and a ton of his games have that. But the artwork for it is really pretty. It's a really nice board to look at for 3 hours, depending on how fast you play a game of Great Western Trail. So that's, I can't even, oh my gosh, I can't even fit the whole thing. There's an expansion that came out with the first edition of the game called Rails to the North, and they do have the expansion for this second edition, Rails to the North, ready to rumble. I saw it at Gen Con, so that's something that you'll be able to pick up probably after Essence Spiel in October. So that's what it looks like. And yes, and we see, look, these are bandit locations now instead of teepees. And the other thing that I read about was that the teepees, I mean, I rarely went through the teepee section in the base game anyway, because it wasn't super good. So I think one of the things they've tried to do is to sweeten this area up and make it so that you kind of want to go through there. The way it works, and it's very similar to Maracaibo as well, but a rondelle, I promised that we would talk about what a rondelle is. And I have a video on the channel explaining in more detail what a rondelle is. It's a bit of a loosey-goosey term because not all games follow all the rules of what a rondelle is. But essentially, you have a circuit. You have some kind of path that loops, and you're able to travel along the path. Certain games you have to travel in fixed increments. Certain games you can go a certain number of steps, and if you skip over things and and don't do the things on certain spaces, then you kind of miss out, is a hallmark of rondelles. So in this one, you're moving your cowboy up the Great Western Trail, and you can go, I believe you can go as many spaces as you want to, but of course, if you just like warp from, you know, here all the way up to here, then you've missed all the goodies that are in here. But you might be trying to beat your opponents to other things. And it's not quite, certain rondelles have it so that multiple players can't occupy the same space at a time, but this one's not like that. Multiple cowboys can be in different buildings at the same time. So yeah, these buildings kind of like go out on the board, and they do things, and they modify your hand of cows so it gets sweeter and sweeter when it goes to the top. The neat thing about when you get the cows all the way to the top, and sorry if you already know Great Western Trail, but for those who don't really know the game, is that you think, oh, like I just got to get my cows at the top and then I'm able to ship to one of these different cities like Kansas City or Fulton or St. Louis. Well, the problem is that your hand has to be of a certain value in order to ship to one of these cities. So it's unlikely you're going to be able to get all the way up to the top and have such a valuable hand of cows that you're going to be able to get it all the way to New York. So you say, oh, okay, my hand's kind of crummy, so I'll ship to Kansas City, and then your cowboy goes all the way back to the beginning of the trail. You bomb all the way up the trail again, improving your hand, improving your hand, improving your hand. But if you get up here and like your hand still stinks, and Kansas City is the only town you qualify to ship them to, but you already have a disc on Kansas City, you're not allowed to ship to Kansas City again. The game forces you to get better and better and better, and if you don't, you're kind of dead in the water. You have to improve that hand in order to get up to the top and to ship to different cities. I'm sorry, I might be wrong about Kansas City. Isn't that the only one that you can ship multiple times to? I don't know, but the rest of them are like exclusive, and you get, of course, more points the farther flung you ship your cows. Yeah, I vaguely remember. I did a whole video on it. This is new for the second edition, though. You've got recessed tracks on these player boards. That's always nice to see. So this is what they added in the Maracaibo expansion, too. They didn't have it in the base game, but they have it in the expansion as recessed boards to keep things in place. But these are very, very nice. It's nice matte finish, nice thick cardboard. I like them. I like them. And ooh la la, aren't we excited to see that there's a cloth bag? Ooh. Cloth bags for, I assume, 1, 2, 3. What goes in there? I think the employees go in there, I'm guessing. Oh, it's been so long. You tell me. I should pay attention. I should pay attention to what you're saying in chat. It's fine with probably 2+ hours. Yeah, it's easily over 2 hours. Now, the big exciting thing about about this version of Great Western Trail over the first one is that your cowboys, you're able to make racially diverse cowboys. Sorry, there's this little gnat here that I'm trying to destroy. Did I get him? Usually each player has a train representing them, so you get a different color, and the colors are, what, red, yellow, blue, white? Red, yellow, blue, white. There's our trains, there's our cubes. Check out the cowboys. They got weird little square heads. You can pick a cowboy with any wood hue to him or her, I suppose, and then pick your color, and then you put the little, oh my gosh, you put the little cowboy hat on the meeple. Ah! Isn't that exciting? That's the best. That's the best. I've been waiting since February to do that. To put a little cowboy hat on the guy. Oh, I don't know. That's the greatest. I have been trying to 3D print, and I was doing it before Great Western Trail 2nd Edition came out. I've been designing hats for meeples, and it's harder than it looks to get a nice supple hat that fits on a piece of wood like that and can come off and go back on without, you know, snapping the brim or anything. It's tough, and they've pulled it off, and it looks amazing and adorable and super good, and I love it, and it's great and well done. I'm so excited about cowboys with little hats on. Whew. Ooh, didn't disappoint. I get a little thrill. Ah, and I should point out another thing. Let's compare the two boxes between first edition and second edition, and let's see if we see a subtle box fartometer 3. Let's see if there's a subtle difference between the insides of the box, the way that's handled. Does anybody? I mean, you got to look pretty closely to spot it. But do you see, like, I don't know, maybe it's just like the fact that this just has a well that you dump everything into in baggies, and this actually has, look at this has a vacuum formed insert for you to be able to put all your tiles in, your nice things, your decks of cards, all your wood pieces. Mwah, lovely. Oh, and even better than that, they went a step further, and this is, please let more of this. They embedded the shape of the thing that you're supposed to put in each little pocket. I love that. I love it. So if you're like, where does this stupid thing go? Oh, boom, it's in there. Great. Let's do more of that. Just because it's all about the cards. The nickname for this game is it's Moo Moo Choo Choo. Okay, I'm having fun now. I don't know about you guys. I don't see a difference as someone guys do. Down with the well, am I right? We got an insert. Those little hats are adorable, says Aradel. Aren't they? Right, Trepanier says numbered 1s, 2s, and 3s. The Nat, yeah. You guys get, I don't know what you're like in your part of the world. Some people I know get lizards in their houses. We get fruit flies and gnats every single year around this time. And if you have indoor plants, you know, you get like fungus gnats, and you'll be sitting there. The fungus gnats, their favorite thing is the breath right an inch past your nose. That's where they like to live. And you're just like, what is this thing? Just me? Here we go. If I were to guess how many cards are in the deck, of course, it would be approximately 50,000 cards. And these are the cows. These are the cows. We got Longhorns. We got Black Angus. Those are delicious. We have Galloways. And we have Santa Gertrudes. Santa Gertrudes. Look at the pedonkadonk on that cow. My gosh, that looks like a scrumptious cow. Apologies to vegetarians, of course. This is not a great game for you if you're not into eating cows. I am, or steers. They're absolutely delectable. Criollo, is that how you pronounce that? So these are different cows than in the base game. There's a bunch of different breeds of cows in this game, and there's a special breed of cow. I know that they. Pardon me. I don't have my craft knife, so it's not going to be teeth and gnashing nails this whole time. I know they've added a special kind of cow. Are you ready to see it? If you haven't seen it already, it looks like, where are the special cows? There they are. Look at these Simmental. These little orange calves are adorable, and they grow, I believe. The longer you hang on to them, is that what makes them grow? So you go little baby calf, and then you get like this is like a teenager cow, and the cow's like, oh mom, I don't want to turn my music down, and then it grows into a big cow. Look at that, blah. Big scrumptious cow that's worth 5 when you get it up to the trains. And a Hereford cow, is that how you say that? And a shorthorn cow. Those look like, I don't know, cows. Great. I was learning about face mites today. Good God, DJ McV, why were you learning about face mites? I like that I played a game the other day that didn't have a score pad and desperately needed one. Does that annoy you? You know, like, yeah, get your own paper. Come on, it's not that expensive, you guys. Put paper in your games. Okay, I'm worried that I'm going to combine the elements from one game into another. So I'm just going to quickly put as much of this away as I can using the handy dandy guide on the, it looks like these fit here. Ooh, that's pretty good. And I don't know, we're just going to stuff them here. After I talked about how easy it is to put everything away. I don't know, just throw it in the well. That's all anyone needs anyway. Oh, throw this down. We won't punch it. Do you guys ever do this thing? Do you ever save your, I've never done this, but I've seen this tip before. Like when you take the punch cards out, now this whole thing is sitting like maybe a half an inch lower inside the box. What some people do is they keep their boards that they punched stuff out of, and they stick it underneath the board game insert to float it to the top, so you don't have a lot of like loosey-goosey, bouncy-wouncy inside the box. You ever do that? I might do that with this now. It might be the first time ever that I hang on to a punch board and use it for something. The cows go on holiday to the various cities. Yes, they do. Go, cows, to San Francisco. You're free. Send me a postcard. You'll love it. Yes. Great. Let me just put this one back. Great Western Trail. So, like, okay. Have they made the case? Here's my big question. Have they made the case for making you want to own the second edition if you have the first edition? I know we didn't talk much about about gameplay or anything like that, or anything that's added. But is it enough just to see that it's got nicer, I mean, it's a matter of opinion, but I think nicer art. It's got little meeple cowboys with interchangeable hats. It's got an insert. It's got bandits instead of Indians. I always have to do that so that nobody writes me letters. They said that, not me. But you know, is that enough? Is that enough for you to go, yes, I'm gonna sell my copy and get a new one? Sound off in the chat, won't you? I'd like to hear your opinion, because we're going to get deeper into the controversial, should I have multiple copies of this game, as we now look at Great Western Trail, Argentina. All right, Ardell says, I'm intrigued with the New Zealand one. So you're gonna go, Ardell, you're gonna go like straight, you're gonna skip Argentina completely and go straight for New Zealand. Let's see if the back of the box has anything to sell us on here. Get your cows off the trail to the rails to sell before they sail. Okay, cute, it rhymes, but I mean, it's nothing new. We've already done it. Prove your strength and watch out for exhaustion. Exhaustion is not a mechanic, I believe, that exists in the base game. So they're trying to sell us on something new. Test your skills against Pedro in Way of a Gaucho, which sounds like maybe an enemy in a solo mode. This is a standalone game. It's part of the trilogy. Cool. The gameplay, while familiar, offers new twists for everyone to enjoy, it says, such as ships sailing to the double-sided port city tiles offering diverse bonuses. Uh-oh, Alexander Pfister, you gotta be careful with ships, as we've learned. A new type of card to manage in your deck, additional functions to your cattle carts for more strategic decisions, expanded player boards, which we'll see shortly, with new sections and auxiliary actions, a new resource to collect, and confront Pedro in the solo mode and beat his score. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, that's it. You're right, DJ Monkey. This is a standalone game. It's not an expansion, so you got to buy the entire thing. And I'm gonna say I haven't weighed the two, but this feels heavier, substantially. Oh, wait a second. It's heavier. It is a heavier box for sure. It's a heavier box. That's something I didn't think to do, is to bust out the old scale. I don't know that we didn't know we would need to, but here we go. Great Western Trail, Argentina. I've seen this on the table set up. It looks quite nice. Box Fartmeter 0. Here we go. Alexander Pfister, the man of the hour. Way of a Gaucho. Just like the first box, we got the solo setup and rules right off the top of the game, so it looks like it's a major selling point for this one. How heavy duty is it? It's this heavy duty. All right, 4 pages. Whew, let's see, actually, we should dive in and just see, like, the kind of thing. I don't, it's a little robot-y. Yeah, Pedro's action. So, like a lot of solos against, like, fake players, they've got a suite of things that you can do. And then they have like a logical fall through kind of thing. Let's put that on the close-up cam and see if we can read that together. I'm going to fold that the wrong way for you. I'm going to fit it on here. So, for example, if you play solo modes, you've seen this kind of thing quite a good many times. So, Pedro chooses a farmer tile on the board according to the following criteria. Do this, and if not that, do this, and if not, do that. You know. So we've seen that before if you've played solo modes of board games. If you haven't seen that, it's a very common thing. There's an appendix for the stuff. Did we see? Yes, we did see a rule book. It's right off the top here. Whew. Ship tiles. Well, that's brand new. Cover tiles I don't think I've seen before. All different cows, which we'll dive into in a second. Great. Here's the board. Let's check out the differences. The board already feels like it's got a different glossier finish on it. I don't know if that's anything to anyone. Ryan pointing out all the useless differences. So here it is. All right, I remember a couple of things that I learned about this at Gen Con. So I think this is one of the most major differences in the game is there's a larger emphasis on beating your opponents to certain spaces. I can't remember why, because I got a little bit into the weeds and I wasn't quite following, but check out the difference. Look, the train track doesn't start at the top of the board. It starts like kind of like in the midst of all the buildings that you're trying to visit, and it goes through here. And I remember that there are a bunch of different paths and shortcuts you can take to the train to do things. So it's kind of like a risk reward thing. Like, I think it's kind of like, you know, do I duck up there and ditch my cows and beat other players to this prize, or do I wait it out and get a bigger reward, that kind of thing. So that's a major difference, is that the railway wends its way in between the buildings that you're trying to visit, and you can duck out on certain shortcuts and do stuff there. Cool. That is the board. Let me know if there's, you know, anything you want me to pan around or zoom in on. And what are you guys? 50,000 cards heavier? Yeah, a whole other deck, Poppy. Looks like we still got a blue vacuum form tray. Very good. Indented player boards as well. We got a spot for 4 different employees, and I believe that we only had a spot for 3 different employees in the base game, right? Yeah. These are ribbons you can earn for shipping good, tasty cows. I mean, cows with taste to San Francisco. No, I don't know. Where are the cities too? Do they mention city names up here? I don't believe they do. I don't know that we're shipping to actual cities up here. Isn't that a difference? Interesting. Cool. Those are the player boards. Got another one of these, just like in the base game. 3 more bags, as before. These are quite nice bags, actually. Well, quite nice. I mean, they're thematic. They're not not made of like gorgeous material or anything. So it looks like we've got the same hats as in the base game, and I'm assuming, yes, the same trains, the same cubes, and the same wood as in the first game. All the discs, it's all the same wood. Nothing's changed there. Nothing too terribly different about the scoreboard. So the differences have to be in the cards and the board then. Let's take a look. Cards on the board and player board. Rado raids through. Oh my gosh. I don't have my sound turned up, so I can't even tell what the heck's going on. Raid! Oh my god, Rado! Just, you gotta warn a guy. Welcome. My gosh. You know what? I tried to set it up so that I could hear, I've got a big scary raid noise to alert me, which you probably heard, and I had no idea what was going on. Welcome. Did I lose them all? Oh my god. That's it, I'm going home. Rado, how was your stream? You guys were doing the R&R show? What were you guys talking about? Is this available now in everywhere but Kanakistan? Duncy, you'd have to check. I think Board Game Atlas is a great place to check where it's available. But if it's anything like 2nd edition, well, you don't care. You're not in Kanakistan. Podcast recording. No reroll today. What was your topic for your podcast, Rado? You're already home. Once again, decks of approximately 50,000 cards apiece, and we've got new cows. We've got, apologies in advance if I don't know how to pronounce Argentinian cow names. It's a shortcoming of mine. Niata, I'm going to say. Niata is a type of cow. Look at this chubby monkey. Looks delectable. Patagonico. I'm getting uncomfortable. I don't know how to say it. I don't speak any South American languages. I've studied none of them, so I don't even know correct pronunciation of things. So forgive me in advance. Fronterizo. Look at this adorable looking cow. This is Holando Argentino. So it looks like these are all, of course, breeds local to Argentino. Blanco, which I know means white. Orinegro, which I know means black. So what does the orin part mean? Blanco, something black. Black and white. Does orin mean and? I don't know. If you speak anything remotely akin to Spanish, maybe you can help me out. Chaqueño. Chaqueño and the, what is this, the Serrano. I've heard of that because there's a pepper called that. I know Serranos and Franquiero. We'll just, isn't that adorable? We'll just call them Frankie. You little Frankie cows. Cute, cute, cute. And Aberdeen Angus. Looking much like the North American Angus. Just a big, just an absolute unit. Anybody hungry for a steak? Look at that guy. Toss a coin to Ryan. Thank you. Green, yeah, green one. We'll call it the green one. So we've seen the Angus guy. Karasu. Oh, that looks like a mean... I hate to ride that one in a rodeo. Look at that thing. Jeesh. Egads. Again, there's no way I'm going to even be able to guess at interpreting some of these icons. Learning an Alexander Pfister game, a lot of it just spent sitting down trying to, you know, trying to part. What does the gray cowboy with the X and the green arrow mean again? Quick to the appendix. Once you get it all down, gameplay's pretty smooth, but getting it all down is the hard part. Great. It smells a bit factory in here now. Whew. Great Western Trail, Argentina. Based on that inept unboxing. Based on that inept unboxing, are you at all interested? Like, tell me, do you own the original Great Western Trail? Do you own second edition? Are you interested in this one? Are you like Airedale and you're just gonna just blaze right past this one and go directly for the sheep? All I care about is the sheep. Give me New Zealand now. I don't know. I want to hear it. I want to hear it. I'm surprised that they went, if they were going to go cow something sheep, I'm surprised that the middle thing was more cows and they didn't go like cow, goat, sheep, or what else do you heard? Do you heard alpaca maybe in the middle would have been kind of interesting, especially for South America, but I don't think that you would herd alpacas and put them on a train for their meat, would you? Do we eat alpacas? I know that we shear alpacas for their wool. Oh my gosh. Ryan's animal husbandry ignorance just laid bare on this stream. Great, but again, we got a nice vacuum formed insert that we can stick things away in beautifully. Look at this little icons for the bags. Love it, love it, love it, love it. I love that extra step that they took to actually stamp what's supposed to go in there. Beautiful. Okay, here we go. Bianco or negro means white with black ears. Oh, Orion. Yeah, okay, so that's got to be ears. Orion? How do you say ears? But thank you, Scotty O'Brien 123. I appreciate that. Yeah, great. Black with white ears. Adorable. Cute. We'll call him Patches. And I know I'm liberally using the word cows. I know that when they're boys, they're steers, but I don't know, cow is just a funnier word. Great. Once they remake it one more time and we can herd space cows. Yes, Skye Mines, space cows. Exciting. That's the Great Western Trail stuff. Now, is anybody at all interested in seeing what's going on with the following? Any of the following? Isle of Skye. Not a new game, I realize. Not brand new. Newdale. Despite the title, also not a new game. I appreciate that. But I think the newest thing that I've got going on here, I believe, is Port Royal Big Box. Why don't we take a look at that together? Like I said, if you're familiar with this game, then you know it from the salty-looking pirate captain or ship captain on the front, smoking the corncob pipe, illustrated by Clemens Franz. And so this is another one where they're taking it and, you know, brand new artists completely updated the look of it, but presumably kept the gameplay the same. So this says it includes the original Port Royal Makes Sail, Port Royal Just One More Contract, and Port Royal The Adventure Begins. Aha! Aren't we sensing sort of a theme with Alexander Pfister? This is an expansion that narrates a story over 5 chapters. He likes that. He likes the idea, and I'm sure if I were a game designer, I would want to build things into my games that make people want to play them more than just once, because this is what I found when I was in video games. Have you tried this stuff, by the way? Our sponsor today is water. That's some clean drinking. Scrumptious stuff. Have you tried that? I recommend it. When I was in video games, I found that like you were lucky if you had anybody interested at all in your game or paying attention to it in any small way. So I wonder if Alexander Pfister does this story stuff to his games to just kind of get a little bit more of the mind share of people than he normally would. I don't know about you, but there are a bunch of games in my collection that have been played, well, nonce, right? They're the ones on my shelf of shame, but that have been played just exactly once. I played them, I get the idea, and then I'll never return to them. The only reason why Alexander Pfister's Maracaibo is kind of like floating around in the back of my brain, the only reason why I think that I would go back and play that again is because I haven't played any of the campaign stuff. So campaign stuff I think is in some small way compelling. I own 2nd edition, says DJ MacV, and as that doesn't get played enough or at all, I won't be buying Argentina. That's totally fair. Unless it gets on BGA and I fall in love with it and I feel obliged to get a copy. Did you play a lot of the 2nd edition with people? It's been hard, right, playing with people, but only recently have I been able to actually bust out the party games in my collection, because I've had a few get-togethers with people. Not party, I wouldn't call them parties, settle down, but just like, oh wow, we've got 6 people, now I can bust out like Pictomania or something. We played another party game just this past weekend with some family who were visiting. This is a beefier rule book than I expected for what we're about to get into, but if it's anything like his Oh My Goods games, they're he really makes his cards work for it, you know what I mean? This is a lot of text, not a lot of pictures. But a lot of cards. Oh my goodness. Switch into my pirate voice. Thankfully there are rip strips on them. Alright. So again, a deck of approximately, if I were to estimate, I would say, let's call that 50,000 cards. Oh man. Do you have this issue with your rip strips? Like, they don't make rip strips like they used to anymore, do they? Where are the quality rip strips from my youth? Here we are. All right. So just before I crack into those, we get a little bit of wood, just a couple of cubes for marking things, and some. I'm not going to call these player boards necessarily, but if I know anything about Oh My Goods, these look like I don't know if I should guess. These look like goals. I'm going to guess these are goals, missions to complete, because there's spots for multiple players. I don't know what 0D means or 0A. Oh my gosh, it's all such a mystery. How thrilling. How thrilling that -1F. What's going on? I don't know. Pirate's Nest. Maritime Supremacy. Oh my gosh. 2C, 1E, who knows? Anybody played this? Tell me please. I'd love to know. Cards. Again, icon heavy games. They're all the Euroist of Euro games. Whoever pays 2 coins gains 1 crown, maximum one time. If there are at least 3 ships of a different color at the start of your turn in the harbor display, gain 1 crown. You know, board games, right? These look like people you can hire. This is all such a guess. But I don't know. What do you think of the artwork? Here, let's get it. Let's get a little bit closer on the close-up cam, and you can maybe weigh in on. Is this a? Oh, thank you so much, Scott, for subscribing. Oh, I hope that I didn't miss anybody else. Thank you, Meeple Pete, for following. I just don't have the audio in my head, so it's not triggering me. It's not alerting me that exciting things are happening. Kabuki Kid says, oh wow, that's a lot of cards. Does this include expansions? Yeah, it looks like 3 expansions, Kabuki Kid. Yeah, this is the big box. That's exactly right. I've dropped one. I don't know, do we prefer this to Clemens? You have to let me know. And the back looks quite nice. Yeah. And this is what a character card looks like. There's the governor. I don't know if, like Maracaibo, these cards have numbers on them. I don't know if I'm supposed to be messing them up. Like Maracaibo, you kind of got to keep all the cards in a certain order. I don't know if that's the case with these ones. But let's leave these over here for a second, and we'll go back to what we're over. This is like a thick old deck of cards. Look at this. My word. But I mean, you know, unboxings aren't super exciting when it's just decks of cards. I realize that, so we'll move on shortly. that was the only follow so far. Thank you very much for updating me. I'm a little sad, I won't lie. But I think the character artwork looks just fine, thank you. This is a passenger. As you know, I'm not the world's biggest Clemens Franz fan, so it's nice to see board games illustrated by anybody but him. Because for a while there, it seemed like they were being illustrated by only him. Here's what one of the ships looks like. Oh, so piratey. So I guess there's another commonality we can find in Alexander Pfister's games. He's clearly down with the pirates, right? You got this. You got Maracaibo. Maracaibo, which I wouldn't go so far as to call a pirate game. I don't think it feels super piratey, though it has pirate elements to it. Again, these are numbered cards. I don't know if I'm supposed to be pulling them out. We're in spoiler territory now, but oh my gosh, look, there's a guy with one sword, and later on a guy with two swords. Oh my gosh. I don't know how much more we're going to see in here that's like fascinating. But lots of stuff with lots of text and story that's being revealed slowly as you play. I don't know if multiplayer, if it's going to reveal that story, that campaign. Oh, I'm going to put everything away. We'll get into something else. But that's what you get in the Port Royal Big Box. Since Pfister Fest is not confined to a month anymore, this is the good news. We will probably be able to like play this on a stream sometime. Are you interested in this one? Do you want to see how it plays or what it does? Please let me know in chat. I'm here to do your bidding. If you're wondering where Cheryl is, Cheryl's very excited because we bought tickets, gigantic nerds that we are, as a family to go to a Ren Fair this weekend. Our kid went to a Ren Fair last weekend, and we're all very jealous. So now we're going to leave Is at home and go to, no, we're bringing the whole family, packing in the car, and Cheryl wanted to dress up. So Cheryl took, everybody's dressing up. I think I'm dressing up. I don't know if I have time to put a costume together, but yes, the whole family is dressing up and going to this super nerd fest Ren Fair. We're kind of jazzed about it. So Cheryl's doing kind of like a barmaid kind of thing, you know, like a not corset, I don't know, tight fitting, pops them out a little bit. She wants to kind of look like halfway between barmaid and hobbit woman. So I approve and support. I've been dying to get in this one, but I think it's only going to be cards, so we'll crack through quickly. But this was a weird situation because this is another case of like IP development and exploitation. So this was a game called Carnival of Monsters by none other than Richard Garfield, famous for his Magic the Gathering series. And that was just a few cards in the mat, and I hadn't played it yet, and I wanted to, and I didn't. And now Pfister Fest is upon us, so now you have no more time to do it, right? But it was a pretty simple game. Actually, Monster Expedition, which is the spiritual successor designed by Alexander Pfister, boom, there's the man himself. Completely different game using the same IP. And I just got it because it's got monsters in it. Look at this. So here's what you get in the box. You get one of these. Shazam. And it looks like cards, I'm guessing, knock up to the edges. That's a total fabrication. That's a guess. I don't even know. You've got a small pile of square cards that presumably rotate and do different things. One is on the back of a turtle. Great. Yes. You've got a number of dice. What's the number? X. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, roughly 10 dice of different colors. And which font is that? Can anyone name that font? Win a prize. And finally, a deck of approximately, and once again, I'm bad at estimating, but I'm going to guess this is about 50,000 cards. And this is the big money. This is not an expensive game, by the way. I went to 401 Games in Toronto, and I saw this on the shelf, and I was looking for it to include it in Pfister Fest, and it was on for like, I'm going to say $13, and I joked and I was like, hey, can I get 2 more copies of this? And they're like, yeah, we got them in the back, and they were going to run and get them. Like, they really wanted to sell this thing to me. I'm like, no, there's just the one is okay. But I like games with monsters and creatures in them. And look, we've got some. There's a fox fiend. There's a monster dealer. There's a slime giant. An executioner wasp. Very scary. Monsters. An omnimorph. That means many shapes. I know my Latin, Greek, I don't know. Omnivore. Oh, look, it's like a Pokemon. It's evolving. Oh my word! It's got a thing coming out of its maw. Oh my, scary. That is monstrous. It's terrifying. The dark glider, vapor snail. My goodness gracious! I'm gonna have nightmares. The Octomegadon. That's wow, cool. Yes, nice. This is called the, if you can't read it, the crustacean. Look at the skulls. Love it. Love it. These are monsters you don't want to mess with. Like, this isn't cutesy, you know, Disney Channel monster stuff. These monsters will mess you up, boy. The Medusa morph that changes into something rather horrifying. And the Jormungandr, is that a real? I don't know. Not real, I didn't mean real, I meant, you know, is that based on existing mythology is what I meant. A bottom feeder, I've met one or two of those in my life. Wow, these are cool. These are cool illustrations. I don't think that this artist excels at people. And I remember when I brought the Carnival of Monsters box to my friend's house, because her place is just around the corner from the store, she takes a look at the cover. It's a brand new game I got. She's like, oh. Like, what's the matter? She goes, oh, really mediocre art. I'm like, okay. Oh, it's really. I said, okay, yeah, relax. And she's like, it's just really, look at it. I'm like, yeah, all right, I get it. I just bought that. I want to be excited about this. Don't rain on my parade. But I have to. I mean, I'm with her. Like, look at this. It's not here. Let's just insult to injury. We'll put it on the close-up cam. Ugh, oh my gosh. Is that the white stripes? What is that supposed to be? I don't know. Oof. Stick to monsters, that guy. All right, that's what you get in Monster Expedition. Nerds in ogre voice from Revenge of the Nerds. One of my favorite gifs of all time. He just gets so mad about nerds. Calm down. Anyway, I really need to duck out. Thanks so much for joining us, Kabuki Kid. Glad to have you. Just some sort of italic font? I don't know. Kabuki Kid, you can't announce that you're leaving and then try to win the prestigious Guess the Font on the Dice contest. Can't do that. That's against the rules that I just envisioned for the Guess the Font on the Dice contest. There is no Guess the Font on the Dice contest. Hate to break it to you. I've heard good things. I've heard good things about Blackout Hong Kong, also designed by Alexander Pfister. Now, sadly, I know almost nothing about the game, and I know almost nothing about the Hong Kong. I know one or two things about blackouts, because we had one in Toronto. It was really cool. Do you remember that blackout that happened? Would have been, Diggity-Aught 4. No, what was it? I can't remember. I guess 2010, 2012 maybe. There's just like the whole eastern seaboard completely blacked out. It was wild. It was so cool because I was living in a condo in Toronto at the time, and it was like, it's crazy. We went up to the roof with flashlights and we were like shining the flashlight, and it was just really cool. It was like this Batman signal beam that we could just hit all the buildings with, and it was just wild to see the place because you never see Toronto with the lights off. If you live there, you know, like there are office buildings and they just keep the lights on in the entire building 24/7. So you just got these big bright beacons everywhere. But it was just such an experience. Anyway, that's what I know about blackouts. What do I know about Hong Kong? Very little, except that it was separate from Chinese communist rule for a prescribed number of years, and it was due to be returned to Chinese communist rule in a certain year, and I don't know if that year is upon us or past or still ahead or what's happening. And I know that there were student protests, I believe, weren't there? And I thought there was a blackout in Hong Kong related to student protests, but I thought it happened after this game was designed and came out. But I might be wrong. Please set me straight in the chat if you know more than I do, which is a highly likely thing. The game includes a campaign mode playable with 1 to 4 players over 5 chapters. Is it only cooperative? I don't know. Imagine the most illuminated city in the world goes dark. Hong Kong has been struck by a large-scale unexpected blackout. As the government struggles to maintain control, you decide to take matters into your own hands and shine flashlights at the neighboring condo buildings. No, and try to bring back some sort of societal order. Daily life as you were used to is quickly dissolved. It sounds like The Purge, doesn't it? Isn't this the plot of The Purge? Even the most mundane tasks become incredibly challenging without electric power. Whoever best manages this situation and restores the semblance of order, that sounds competitive, will surely claim a position of power in post-blackout Hong Kong. Wait a second. In Alexander Pfister's Blackout of Hong Kong, you'll have to manage ever-changing resources and a network of various specialists to help Hong Kong from descending into chaos. Well, so is the idea that there's a blackout in Hong Kong and you run around like profiteering and then they make you king of Hong Kong at the end? I don't really understand what that is. Oh look, we got an errata printout right off the top. Incorrect cards, new cards. Due to a technical problem, 5 cards below have been replaced in your decks of Blackout. Please remove the cards showing the top row. Okay, fine. I definitely want to hang on to that. Here's what you get. Player boards. Anybody gonna educate me about Hong Kong in the chat? No? Nope, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Go look it up, Ryan. You've got Wikipedia just like the rest of us. All right, fine. Great. Here we are. Definitely a different look than any of the other Alexander Pfister games that we have in this collection. Are there many picture examples in the book? Much text, lots. Lots. Yeah, this looks heavy. This looks like a whole pile of stuff. Ooh, okay. All right, so like many Alexander Pfister games, these are mid to heavyweight games and not for the faint of heart. So just know what you're going into. If you're not into that kind of thing, generally I would say stay away from basically everything he's ever designed. That's something that I wanted to point out too. So another designer that I'm interested in covering, and I hope I get his name right, Vlada Hvadil from he does a lot of stuff with Czech Games Edition. He has run the gamut in his designs. He does stuff that's like really super heavy Euro, and then he does like code names. So I thought that was interesting about Alexander Pfister, is you're not going to find that with Alexander Pfister. He's basically doing heavy games, and that's all. So if you want something lighter, go somewhere else. Here's our board. Very dark. It reminds me a little bit of King of Tokyo Black, doesn't it? It's a very, very stark, dreary. Well, I guess it makes sense because it's called Hong Kong Blackout, right? But that's the idea. And that I'm gonna guess that this is a rondel, and that a piece or multiple pieces representing each player move around this thing, and you get stuff. I'm guessing that's a rondel. Because he does a lot of rondels. He did Maracaibo, that was a rondel. He did Great Western Trail, that was a rondel. He did Boone Lake is a rondel. The man likes his rondels. Another deck of, I'm amazed that he likes 50,000 cards too in a deck. That seems to be his preferred number of cards in a deck. I don't want to mess these up too badly because this is the deck that I have to remove people from, but I'm sort of surprised to see that nothing's happening in this little speech bubble down here. That's a lot of card estate to devote to just like one icon over here. Is it the kind of thing where, like, again, I want to be careful, do cards like overlap and create additional icons across the bottom? I'm guessing that's a conspicuous amount of space to put in that bubble down there. Well, let's see what else we've got. If you've played it, please set me straight, let me know. Another deck of cards that we'll get. These are the replacement cards for the incorrect ones. Blackout Hong Kong is a lighter medium weight game IMO. Tons of the bones, what would you compare it to? Like if you were to pick another game that maybe I know a bit better, you could say it's about as heavy as blank, and then you can let me know. Like it seems like, is it lighter than Great Western Trail? As long as we're talking Alexander Pfister. Pick any game, let me know. Here's where all the icons were hiding. They're on these cards at the bottom. And although Alexander Pfister has been involved with 3 entire controversies about, cultural appropriation. I don't think that I heard anything of anybody complaining that he set a game in Hong Kong. I suppose the wrong thing to do would have all these characters and nobody looks like they're from Hong Kong. But it looks like all of these people, yeah, they look like they could live there. Makes sense. What is the word for somebody who lives in Hong Kong? Is that Hong Kongite? Hong Kongese? Hong Kongian? Hong Kongian. Here's a better question. What is the word for that kind of word? I used to know that. It's not eponym. It's something nym. I have a whole page devoted to words that describe words. And there's a word for the word that you use to describe somebody who's from a place. I'm from a town called Oshawa, so I think there are rules about when the town ends in a vowel, and they've just completely ignored it because I think the word is supposed to be Oshawaiian, which is awful and hard to say, and they need to go back to committee on that one. That is the extent of what you will find in Blackout Hong Kong. Some discs, some bog standard houses, Catan style, and a purple, presumably start player disc, and some cubes. An interesting mix, though, I will say, an interesting mix of player colors. Green, orange, white, gray, not a common combo that you get in a lot of board games. Pfister Pfest. A bit lighter than Great Western Trail, but not by a whole lot. Yeah, you know what? I would call Great Western Trail heavy. I would. You can fight me on it. I wouldn't call it mid, just because any game where you have to, like, I think about teaching it, right? Any game where you have to sit new players down and say, this is what this icon means, this is what this icon means, this is what this icon means, and just do a whole, like, you know, you're essentially like teaching them a whole, like, hieroglyphic language before they're able to play. You know, that requires, and when I say heavy, I'm not talking about the actual decision tree that you have to go through when you're playing a game, but more just the time it takes to learn or explain it to somebody. That's what because I was playing with my elderly uncle this weekend, and we were playing a very light party game with him, something that I would consider just like the simplest thing you could imagine. And we were at it for like a good hour, and he was still asking me to explain rules and rationale to him with that game. And so we forget. We play these games, we get really good at them, and then we forget how much more difficult it is for people who are brand new. Look, it's Expedition to Newdale. So, the Oh My Good saga continues as a board game. Oh My Good's not a board game? I guess they consider it a card game. Immerse yourselves over the course of 8 chapters. Look, 8 chapters, everybody, with branches in the story. A hallmark now we're learning of Alexander Pfister. No prior knowledge of Oh My Goods required, but watch Ryan's video anyway. This is a story that you can relive over and over again at the game table with familiar faces, new allies, and many surprises. I like surprises. Wow, okay. Cool. An advanced level game in 8 chapters. See, Lookout Games likes to do that. That was a fairly recent addition to their games. Over the past few years, they've marked their thing like advanced or beginner. I think they started doing that with their Agricola series, just to warn people. Okay, so already a bunch of this stuff is looking familiar. These cards, and legit, I think there are 50,000 in this deck. These cards look straight out of Oh My Goods. There's a lot, the same kind of a format to them, the same, similar icons. This gear here is an Oh My Goods thing. The chain is an Oh My Goods thing because you're trying to chain pieces of equipment together or goods together in order to process them into more complex objects. Just trying to fill the void here where I desperately search for a rip strip. Here we go. Ahaha. Yes. So yes, familiarity with Oh My Goods not required, but I'm sure it would help. Look at this. Look at this. That looks right out of the other game. With extras, with the this is new kind of thing. Little flags with meeples on them. Definitely different buildings. Abattoir flour mill is in Oh My Goods. Post office is new. That icon is new. Interesting. Okay, well let's see what the story stuff is split into. Here's all the wood We've got a unique looking green meeple who looks kind of like a genie bottle. The colors are blue, green, yellow, and red. And then again some, oh, and there's black in there as well. And then some pretty common looking discs and houses in various non-player colors. You know, you ever play games where for some reason they make the non-player pieces in player colors and it makes it like super confusing? You're like, why didn't you just choose like 4 other colors? And they're like, we had all this paint. Silly. Just wondering if there's if the story, so some of his games have the story on cards and some of them do not. And this looks like one that, here we go. Oh, yes, there is story, it looks like, on the cards, but not much. That was only like 10 cards or something. I don't want to look at it in case I'm going to wreck any story. At game end, do stuff. At game end, the expedition gets going. Yeah, it doesn't look like, I mean, if it's story related, it looks like a lot of the story is in your head because it looks like there's very scant paragraphs telling you what's going on in the story of this game. We got stickers. Oh my gosh. We got stickers, baggies, and rule book. Look at this. Look at this spreadsheet at the back of the, oh my lord, really? Like, yeah, if you're interested in the Oh My Good series, let that frighten you off. Whew. Okay. What is this nonsense? Oh my god. Chapter, what is 1, 2, 3A, 3B, 4A, 4B, 5, 6, 7, 8. My word. I was watching another board game person talk about stuff, and he would have been stumped by that because he doesn't know how to read Roman numerals. So even stuff that I think a lot of people take for granted, not everybody knows, not everybody understands or knows how to do or gets. I don't know. I think some of these designers are operating at a different level, and they take the capabilities of some players for granted. It's not terrible rulebook wise, but the rulebook for Oh My Goods wasn't terrible either, and it turned out to be like just a real kind of a bear to learn that game, to be honest. Maybe we got more story in this, The Chronicle. Try not to let your eyes settle on any words so we don't. It's not a lot, is it? It's not a lot. Yeah, it looks like a lot of the story is going to transpire in your brain. Cardboard? How do you sleeve the cards without touching them? Gloves, haha. Are we talking about sleeving? You're touching them without sleeves. You're touching the cards again without sleeves. BGHQ Game Ladder, are you really that particular about, like, I generally don't sleeve games. The only time I'll sleeve a game is when it's basically any small nick or breath on a card will wreck the game. So I mentioned that I've been getting some more of my party games out to play. Pictomania is a great one because there's only maybe like 10 or 12 cards in the game, but they get kind of like Pit. If you've ever played Pit, they get chucked around a lot really, really fast and kind of roughly. And it's like if you wreck even a little bit, if you mar the back of one of those cards, it kind of gives the whole thing away. And I just thought for the cost of 10, 12 sleeves, it was better than buying the new game. The case against sleeving games I've heard is like, oh, why would you spend all that money on sleeves and time sleeving the game when you can just, like, if it gets wrecked, it's probably cheaper to go buy the game again. And of course, hey smarty pants, the counter to that is, well, what if the game goes out of print? What if you can't buy the game again? So ha ha ha, foo on you. These look like player boards, don't they? Lots of iconography. Yo dog, I heard you liked iconography. One of the things you can do with Oh My Goods is you can 3D print out little crates in order to keep track of the goods you produce. The game is supposed to make you do it by sticking cards under cards, but some people like little crates. I haven't printed those crates out yet. Common board with a little score track. Nothing too I don't know, Oh My Goods doesn't really, maybe the story stuff does it a little bit better, but I don't really get a good sense of place with Oh My Goods. It's just kind of like you're in a patch of green with grass and you're making goods. End of story. Story. Finally, the board, which is what you're paying for, really. If you want Expedition to Newdale, you want it because there's a board, not just a deck or two of cards. And what do the boards, multiple, what do the boards look like? Well, they look like this. That's weird. These banners are weird, man. Why are some of them blank? I don't understand. Are there stickers that go on this board? I don't know. This is confusing. Why would you have a blank banner? It's weird too. The banners look like collars. Look, you can imagine like all of these places are like dudes who've had their heads exploded, you know, and it's just like his collar left. No, just me. Okay, weird. More exploded heads. That's what board number 2 looks like. The boards look very similar to Red Raven Games. I'll buy that. Absolutely, I'll buy that. So you're talking about stuff like Above and Below, Near and Far, those kinds of games? And here is the third board. They're also, I don't know if they're, do they stitch together? I don't know. Or are they just, is this the same land at different point? I don't know what's going on. They don't look like they puzzle piece or anything. Oh, maybe they do. Wait. I don't have the table space to do it, but I don't think so. No. Oh, wait. Oh, in a weird, holy cow, really? Where's this one supposed to go then? No, I don't. I think I had a false positive with this. No, I don't think it goes. All right. Those are the Expedition to Newdale boards. You get a drawstring baggie as well. Presumably you draw, I'm gonna guess cubes. I don't think you're gonna throw your cards in there. Some stickers, like I said, and looks like pretty light touch with the story. I think Maracaibo was a pretty similar thing. You didn't get, I've been playing a game recently called My Father's Work, which I'm excited to tell you all about in an upcoming Find the Fun review video. And that game takes a completely different approach to telling you a story. It tells you a story with basically like, here, go read a chapter of Dracula and then come back to us. Like, it's just like, it's a lot. It's not that much, obviously, but it's pretty verbose. Okay, I've got board gamer's lung. I can feel cardboard particles in my chest. I've got one more to look at. I can show you what's in any of his other games that we have on the table as well. So that includes like I said, Maracaibo. We've got a Broom Service, which I don't think I've ever opened yet. Patrick keeps threatening to teach it to us, and I'm kind of excited. He says it's really cool, and he says it's different too. He says it does things differently than any other Alexander Pfister game he's played. All right, the final game that we'll crack open for this live stream, the kickoff to Pfister Fest, a celebration of games by Alexander Pfister, is Isle of Skye from Chieftain to King. And I think that they have recently released the big box version of this. Correct me if I'm wrong. There are 2, perhaps 3 expansions to Isle of Skye, and the big box, of course, includes them all. What do you think of big boxes? Do you get annoyed? I get a little annoyed, to be honest. I bought Terra Mystica. Isle of Skye with second expansion is great, says Tones My Bones. I will say the average person knows, sorry, I'm just catching up with chat, Tones My Bones. The average person knows simple math being games like The Game of Life, Blackout Hong Kong is algebra first semester, then Great Western Trail is the second half of the semester. I'm trying to think of how far I got in algebra to... Those boards are different depending on the scenario you're playing. Thanks, Tones My Bones. Back to thinking. Broom Service, aka Kiki's Delivery Service, the game. Ain't that the truth? Look at this thing. Isn't that like... This just looks like the cover of Kiki's Delivery Service. And yeah, you play witches. You play witches, and there's a from what Patrick tells me, there's a high level of interaction between players because the card you decide to play, and it sounded a little bit like Glass Road by Uwe Rosenberg. The card that you decide to play kind of matters. It matters what your neighbor is going to play, and you kind of have to like second guess what your neighbor is about to play, because if your neighbor is going to play a certain thing that you hope he's not going to, then the card you play is not going to be a good idea. It's that kind of thing. Hope I explained that very well. Kiki's the game. Don't tell my wife she loves that movie. Uh-oh, Oberon. Uh-oh. We just made Oberon buy a game. We did it, everybody. Yeah, fireworks. Great. Isle of Skye from Chieftain to King. I'll spare you my terrible Scottish accent. Little rules, lots of fun. That's why I'm not going to like it. No, they said I'm not going to like it because it's got tile laying in it, and I generally stay away from tile laying. So stuff like Carcassonne, not really my favorite kind of thing. Or, but really, it's look at the big bag on this one. Oh my gosh! I guess all the tiles go in there. Wow, lovely. But yeah, you gotta think. When I was in video games, you'd have to really you'd think like people, stuff that you take for granted playing a million video games and other people don't. So this is hilarious that it says here, components in brackets, carefully punch out the cardboard pieces before your first play. Oh, that's what we were doing wrong. We were trying to play with everything still in the punch board. Oh, it makes so much sense. Why didn't they put that in the rule book? All right. Here we go. Look, a player board. MacDonald. This always makes me nervous. Talk about handling the cards without gloves. Yes. I know how this goes, I think. Yes, papercraft. And little secrets and rules on the inside of your player screen. Lovely, lovely. Great. Mech, I'm not gonna try. Please give me a pronunciation guide if you are Scots in the chat. I am not. My background is Irish, and thank you for asking. I don't speak Irish either. Tons by Bones, thank you so much for your subscription. I appreciate that. One more for the old subscription bucket. Soon I'll melt you all down into a potion. but we have to get to 1,000 first. Ooh, I've dropped a card. Okay. Tiles. Already, I can feel my eyes glazing over. You probably are experiencing something very similar because this looks like the most Carcassonne nonsense I've ever seen in my entire life. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Try to stay awake, folks. Ew. Gross. Ew, Carcassonne. Meh. How ungrateful am I? Thank you very much, by the way, Asmodee Canada, for sending me this game so graciously. I appreciate it, but tiles. Why don't I like tile laying games? And one of the reasons is that I find that, and I said all of this in my Find the Fun Carcassonne video, but like, you can be sitting there pulling a tile and waiting for the thing that you desperately want to come up, not knowing that you need something like with a road on this side and a lake on this side and then 2 pastures over here, and you might not know that tile, like, either there's only 3 of them and they're all out on the table already, or that doesn't even exist in the whole stack. Yet you're playing against people who may know the game so well that they can look at the table and go like, oh, the tile he's searching for isn't there because there's 3 of them out on the table. Or like you can get like weird like Rain Man card counting situations where people like they know the whole stack and they know what's coming and they know what to hope for. I don't like any game where you can excel if you are able to memorize the deck. Don't like it. I started to make a video for a new Saboteur game that you'll see on the channel within the month called Saboteur the Dark Cave. And the solution that Saboteur the Dark Cave comes up with is they've got 3 decks of cards. They're not tiles, they're cards, but it's essentially just a thickness difference. But they've got cave cards 1, 2, and 3. And it's the same kind of thing. You're laying the cards down, you're building the path out. If you've ever played a Saboteur game, you know how it goes. And what they do to avoid that issue, that Rain Man issue, is they say, okay, stack 1, just get rid of 5 random cards. Stack 2, 5 random cards. Stack 3, 5 random cards. So then, even if you're playing against somebody who has the entire thing memorized, it's like they're guessing as to what's going to come out in these decks. So you're not at a distinct disadvantage to somebody who's got a better memory than you, necessarily. This tile laying game, oh, tell me the pitch, Tones My Bones. This tile laying game is great because you bid on the tiles you want instead of randomly drawing plays. That's better. Already better. Already like it a lot more. That's another thing. Like, I don't understand why Carcassonne, why the whole deal is like take one tile and play one tile. Like, it's such an easier fix and it doesn't make the game super complicated. It's so simple. Draw 3 tiles and pick one and then refill the spot, or let everyone draw a new 3 when it's their turn. That's not hard, right? That's easy, and that would make the game way better than just like pull the next tile out the stack. So Suro is another game, very, very simple game that's, again, tile laying, and I couldn't stand it because of that exact thing. It's like, take one tile and put it on the board. And I was just losing my mind with boredom on that one. Great, and a common board with a score. Did we see any wood in here? Was there any wood? Hey, got any wood? Ah, look. 6 discs of wood. So you can play, I suppose, up to 6 players, because I believe I saw 6 player screens. Let me see if I can teach you how to play. Tones My Bones, shush for a sec. Let's see if I can teach you how to play just by looking at what's on the back of the player board. Won't this be exciting? All right, these are the, what is it called? Isle of Skye, from Chieftain to King. You play a chieftain, hoping to make your way to be a king, and you, on your turn, you have a choice of 6 different options, which are as follows. You can get X number of coins, or you can draw 3 coins from the bag, and I'm going to cheat a little bit here because Tones My Bones told me you can bid on those tiles, or you can use an axe to get rid of one of the tiles in your tableau, or you can glad hand you can pay a politician some square money in order to get a residual kickback of frisbee, or you can, what is this, add tiles to your display, or you can gain mystery ramen brick. And now you're ready to play Isle of Skye, Chieftain to King. Did I get that? Was I close? So it really looks like, yeah, 5 looks like swap 2 tiles. It's either swap 2 tiles or add tiles, or take 2 away as long as they're on the edges. Not bad, pretty good. Tones My Bones, what does this one do? What does number 5 do? And this one looks like take a card, but are there cards in the game? I don't think there are. Oh, there's the axe. Look, I think we were right about the axe. What's that one do? Help us. You're the only one in chat who's played this. What does it do? First time chat reviewer says one-man crowd who's probably going nuts yelling, "It's the thing!" You were somewhat close, but you do all those things. Oh, you do them all each round. Oh, so it's not a choice. And I assume since it's numbered, you're going to do them in order from left to right, yeah? What is the magic ramen noodle thing at the end? That looks like a Celtic knot or something at the end. What does the knot do? Because I don't see, that looks like a draw a card or tile or something. And I guess the money that you get on number 1 is yes, it depends on what kind of tiles I suppose you have in your tableau. Look at this. What do we need a rule book for? This piece of cake. This is a scoring thing, maybe? The ramen noodles, you score. Scoring changes every round. If you look at the main score. Oh, yeah, let's look at the main scoreboard. Scoreboard. Scoring changes every round. So in round A, no scoring. In round B, oh, I see. So in the first round, we're only scoring what goes above A. In the second round, we're only scoring what goes above B. In the third round, we're scoring whatever happens above A and C. Am I getting this right? I've played a game that does this kind of thing, and I can't remember what game it is. In this round, we're only scoring B and D. Oh, like Cartographers, that's what I'm thinking of, right? Cartographers does something a little bit like this. There's another game, though, that's in the back of my brain that does this. And then this round, we're scoring D, C, and A. Shoot, what was that game? It's in the back of my brain. Chat amongst yourselves. It'll come to me. Or are you putting a cube or a player piece here in order to opt to score all 3 of those conditions? Yeah, cartographers are very similar. Yeah, but it wasn't cartographers. There's another one that did it. Oh, it's gonna haunt me tonight. Tonight at 4 in the morning, I'm gonna sit bolt upright in bed. I'm gonna say, I know what it is. Quick, start the stream. All right, let's put Skye away. Now you got to tell me. You said like this game with the expansion is the bee's knees. What does the, and I assume you meant the first expansion. I think there were multiple. What does the expansion add, change, modify? Why should I go back to Asmodee and say, hey, you guys, listen, I really appreciate it. Please send me the big box. Where's the rest of it? Like, is this even playable? Is this game even playable without the expansion? I don't know. I'll tell Asmodee. All right. You ever do that? You ever see like a big box available and you're like, I'm just gonna ease in. I'm not gonna go for the Anachrony Infinity box just yet. I'm gonna go. I know somebody who did that actually, and she hangs out on the Discord server. Her name is Stacy Everdell, or the Discord server. Hope she doesn't mind me telling this story about her, but she thought, Tricarion, I'm interested in Tricarion, but I'm not gonna go buy the collector's edition. I'll just buy the base game Tricarion. I'll play it and I'll try it out and I'll see how it is. So she did that. She was like, I need all of it. So now she's got to hunt down all the expansions or sell her base game and buy the collector's edition. It's an unenviable position to be in. The first expansion makes the game take too long, says Tones by Bones. To be honest, I forgot what it does, but you were talking about the second expansion. The second expansion I think is great. It adds more tiles and cool powers. Is it modular? Are you able to play with the second and without the first? I don't know. You let me know. Big boxes are scary and overwhelming sometimes, ain't they? I mean, that Port Royal thing, I'm like, this is... Settle down. This is too much game right out of the gate. Yeah. As long as we can... I like making Oberon spend money, so Oberon, go tell Phoenix this is what you get. It's a witch game called Broom Service by Ravensburger, so you know the quality is going to be very, very nice. Totally different illustration style. This looks like it could be Vincent. Is this Vincent Dutrait? I want to take a look. I want to take a look at who is in here. Are the credits in here? Did they even put credits? Oh my goodness, maybe not. I don't know, maybe you can hit Board Game Geek and let me know if that's him, because it looks like it vaguely might be him. Great, that's what the board looks like. You're moving around, but I think the attraction with this game is the card play, because I am going to now very poorly tell you how to play Broom Service based on what Petras told me. You have cards and actions that you can do, and you can do them either boldly or cautiously. I think those are the words. I might be getting this wrong. And if you do your thing boldly and somebody else does it cautiously, it sounds like a little bit like the prisoner's dilemma. Then you get a leg up, but if you both do it boldly, then you get like either a crappy turn or like less stuff on your turn or something like that. Oh, it's been so long since he explained it to me, but and we've been threatening to play this game with each other for the longest time. It is now shot up to the top of my list so that I can talk about it in future installments of Pfister Pfest. Fresco, wait, are we talking about Fresco now? Oh, we're talking about the Fresco Big Box. Oh my lord, what is the Fresco Big Box running you these days? Is it like 190 bucks? I think it's close to 200 bucks, isn't it? And it's funny because for the longest time I was going to Meeple Mart in Toronto and they had these Fresco expansions. It's like Fresco expansion for $1.95. I was like, $1.95? How does that make any sense? And I didn't realize that there were like 18 of them and nobody wanted them, and they finally put it all together in a big box, and I thought, oh, maybe I'll buy the Fresco Big Box, because I did play the base game and I thought it was pretty decent. And then yeah, the big box, it's like, is that Queen Games? Queen Games is doing I whistle every time I say Queen. Queen Games is doing a whole pile of really, you know, big box, huge, put it all in. They have 2. I have the Alhambra big box, and I was surprised to see that there was a second Alhambra big box based on Alhambra, the card game. And now I think there's a 3rd Alhambra big box, which is like even more expansions. Wild. Wow. What are we talking about here? Even Escape I love, but I don't want a giant box. Me, not a big fan of Escape. You go nuts. There's more Escape for you. Clans of Caledonia, Wingspan, Barrage, Terra Mystica, Darwin's Journey has scoring like Isle of Skye / Cartographers. Great. You're trying to help me think of the thing that I was trying to think of. But it wasn't Barrage. It wasn't Terra Mystica. It wasn't Darwin's Journey. No, it wasn't any of those. Maybe it was Cartographers. I don't know. I thought it was something else I played where it's just like, yeah, here we're going to score A and D, and then the next round we're going to score B and C only, and then we're going to score D and A only. Yeah. Obsession. I have played Obsession recently. Is it Obsession? I don't know. Yeah, it does sound like Cartographers, doesn't it, Duck Monster? I'm glad you bring up Obsession tones, my boys, because if you like Obsession, boy howdy do the people in the Discord server like Obsession. I mean, like is kind of like a gentle word for it, but they are in the middle of another. There's these games come in waves, and the people on the Discord server now are like big into playing live real-time games of Obsession. Hop in there, go to the game scheduling channel, and if you say you like Obsession, they're gonna like whisk you away into their Obsession cult and then tie you to a chair and make you play. So if you're into that, then you'll have a good time. Great. I still need to play Obsessions so bad. I mean, have you played yet? Because seriously, if you jump into that Discord server, you'll play 9 games in a row before you hit 10 o'clock tonight. I promise you. Great. It's coming to BGA, says DJ Mach V. Isn't it already? Are you guys playing, DJ Mach V, are you playing like the beta or the alpha version of it? Is that why everybody's playing? Where are you guys playing it? Because I know you're playing it a lot. Join I will, says Tones My Bones. Well, welcome. Welcome. It's a good place full of good people. Great. Yeah, there's the link right there. That should help. Yeah, look at that, man. Whoosh. The only thing that we didn't really take a look at, well, you know, there's one of not too exciting, but are you guys excited for Pfister Pfest? Are you excited to see what these games do? You want to see us play them? Are there anything in particular that you're more excited about than others? I think Great Western Trail is probably the leading cause of excitement on this whole voyage. This is one, again, I do not dig the story mode stuff for oh my goodness at all. I would love to play through the stories in these games on a stream. Because I thought this was an interesting game. I thought it did neat stuff, and I really wanted to see what the story did. So I'll put that away. But man, when I opened the second one, Long Stay on the Vote, and I looked at the rule book, I had no idea what was going on. Like, this rule book is really weird. It's like pithy. Like, I get that it's translated from German, but it's just like really spare. I don't know. It was challenging. So maybe we'll crack that open and play through a couple of commands. Oh, thank you so much, Omelet, for subscribing. Are you were you annoyed by the ads enough that you had to let the festivities begin, says Omelet. Audio crackle. One moment. It might be time to replace this this lariat. We good? How we doing? We good? Ooh, your mic just went crackly again. Audio crack-a-lackin'. It'll pass. He's going through the tunnel. Yeah, I don't know if you knew this, but I actually live stream from inside of a moving van the entire time. So that's every once in a while you see me bounce around. That's because we've hit a bump on the road. Much better. Great. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Yeah, the only thing we didn't take a look at, aside from copies of Cloud Age and Boon Lake, which I'm going to borrow hopefully from Omelet, if you approve, Omelet. We didn't look at Maracaibo, which has already been opened. I've already played it once with Cheryl. I don't think it ended up being her favorite game in the world, so oh my god, she's not keen to play anytime soon. But oh, here's a game that needs an insert. Look at this. Utter travesty. Oh man, I was going to show you the board, but I don't even know if I can find the board. It's taking us an hour to dig through it. Look, it's supposed to be like thematic pirates because you're digging, just digging to find that treasure. Oh my word. Now, I do want to show you the board though, if you've never seen it, because it's a little hilarious. Whew. This is another one where the cards are numbered. You can't mess around with the order of the cards because it tells you the story through the cards in order. And this is the problem that the expansion runs into. So they have dual layer boards in the expansion to replace these ones, and there's some pits and holes. Like you cover all these spots up, but the board that's underneath it to show through the holes is just like a few millimeters offset, just enough to look super goofy. It's reparable if you like arts and crafts. So you can actually like what they did was they printed it and they scored it and then they folded it under, and I think they give you little gluey bits to glue it down. So if you like arts and crafts, you can actually, I almost hate to say it, but you can take a craft knife and cut the seam and then trim off the excess and reposition it and stick it down like that. But I know a lot of people are super uncomfortable cutting their games, me included. I'll just wait until they reprint it. So finally we get to the board. The board, which I found a little hysterical because, oh, that game, oh my gosh, what on earth. If you want to freak out your 73-year-old uncle, put this on the table. Oh my gosh. But I mean, again, I liken it to crossword puzzles. Like the more you do crossword puzzles, the more, you know, you're kind of down with the lingo and the tricks that they pull, and you just get more familiar and comfortable with them. So here, especially if you've played other Alexander Pfister games or other board games, you can pretty clearly see that there is a rondel situation going on here, right? You're going to follow these arrows around the board and stuff's going to happen. So at least you can, at least we've got that. And then it looks like there's some other path going down here. And indeed, this is a path you're cutting through the jungle to get all sorts of prizes, and the prizes are printed on the circles that your people move to. I really like this part of the game. And then up here, this was the weird part of the game. It was a little bit hard to learn, but there's like a war between three different nations, the Dutch, the British, and the French, and you're a privateer, so you're fighting on behalf of them. And there's like a battle mechanic that, I don't know if it made a whole lot of sense, but we'll play it on a stream in the future and we'll talk about it. Great. Thank you for joining me. I think that's all I've got for the kickoff for Pfister Pfest. I hope you're as excited as I am. If there's somebody, by the way, mods that you'd like to raid, make sure to use a raid queue and queue them up and then let me know. But I want to know from you. I think I know what the answer is going to be. I won't put up a poll, but maybe you can tell me in chat of the stuff that we talked about and of the stuff in this vast library of Alexander Pfister games. If I were, like, the very next thing I do in Pfister Fest should be what do you think? I would like you to tell me what you think. Ryan, absolutely go beeline for this game and go do it. Go play it. Great Western Trail, Argentina, says Omelet. There's one vote for it. Obsession October. Great Western Trail, Argentina, says Dr. Threeput. There's another vote. It's funny though that Dr. Threeput, that you think that Isle of Skye would be number 2. Really? Does anybody else think that that's the right order? It's like Great Western Trail, Argentina, and then Isle of Skye. I don't know what I would put as number 2. I'm very interested in a Broom Service, but I need multiple people to play it. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to play it on stream is the problem with that, because I think you need about like at least 3 players. It's a 2 to 5 player game. I think Petra said it plays best at 3. And if you've ever seen me and Cheryl on the stream, we're like, you know, snugged right up next to each other, and there's not a lot of space. I don't know if I can accommodate 3 players. I don't know. Maybe this will be the time to try it. Dang, says Railing Kill. Joined late and it looks like I missed a lot of unboxing / opening. Don't worry, Railing Kill, because what I do is I download these things and I put them up on the YouTube channel after the fact. So if there's anything that you wanted to see that you missed, we unboxed Great Western Trail Argentina, which I think is the big new hotness thing that most people were interested in. But then we cracked into a big Blackout Hong Kong, says DJ McV, is interesting. Broom Service 3rd. Okay, yeah, Dr. Threepwood says nice, DJ. Blackout Hong Kong looked neat, didn't it? It looked kind of cool. It certainly looked different than any other game in that whole pile. Just going to remind you. Anyway, whatever. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that this is a nice kickoff and you're excited about some of the stuff that we got on there. I think I know what to do next. We're definitely going to take a look at Great Western Trail sooner rather than later. Any piece of content that I put out involving Alexander Pfister is now going under the umbrella of Pfister Pfest. So I hope that you enjoy all the cool stuff that we have coming out. I'm going to take the how to play video that I made for Great Western Trail and then change a few words and re-photograph it. And so you'll get a how to play at the very least for Great Western Trail 2nd edition, and maybe I only have to change a few words to do the Argentina video. Wouldn't that be lovely? Oh, that'd be great. What did you say the playtime was for Blackout? Gosh, like, that would be down to somebody who's played it already. The box, which we know lies, says it's 1 to 4 players, 75 to 150 minutes. But I think somebody was saying that it's pretty close to Great Western Trail in complexity. And I find that we weren't able to get out of Great Western Trail in anything under 3 hours. Caveat being we play really slowly in my family. So, I don't know, maybe the people in chat can correct me. Anyway, let's get this thing going. A raid Panda Angel. Is it going? It's going. It's going. We're queuing it up. All right, cool. So I'll just talk over this countdown. We haven't seen the countdown in a while, have we? Where is it? Is it going? Is it working? Yeah, it's working. Okay, go. Double the box time. Yeah, for real, right? Totally double the box time. 175 minutes, 150 minutes would be 1660 is 100. Ryan does math. So like 2 hours and 10 minutes at the outset, which I think is, well, that's hard too. Like, what's that player count? Is that like 75 minutes at 1 player and 150 minutes at 4? I don't know. I don't, you know, they put these times on the boxes having played a million play tests, and they can like burn through it like it's nothing. So they're like, no, what should we put for the play time? I don't know, 15 minutes. We can crank one out in 15 minutes. But, you know, they're not factoring on we schlubs have to go through their 24-page rule book with no pictures for a good hour or so before we play. How is that game? Says Don C. Never heard of it. Blackout Hong Kong. I've only spoken to, I believe, 1 person about Blackout Hong Kong, and that 1 person said favorable things about it, and I believe the reception during the stream was positive. Anyway, thank you again. We'll see you soon. Let's go see Panda Angel in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Did you just watch that whole thing? Oh, hey, to 100% this video, click the badge to subscribe and then click the bell to get notifications when I've got new stuff.